DJI may have just made a massive mistake, or a genius move. The Mavic 4 Pro is so powerful, it might make their brand new Matrice for Enterprise irrelevant. But don't just take my word for it. Let's take a closer look at both of their flagship drones that DJI has and put them through the paces to see what is the right system for you. Hey guys, Dylan Gorman here. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who don't know who I am, I've been a commercial drone pilot coming up on 7 years now, primarily focusing on drone mapping and photogrammetry. And earlier this year, I released my most comprehensive drone review to date, in which we cover all the latest and greatest features that DJI added with their DJI Matrice for Enterprise system. And to this day, I have to say that I absolutely love this drone. It has made me tens of thousands of dollars and has also saved me a tremendous amount of time in the field. But there were several features that I felt were missing that have mysteriously made their way into the Mavic 4 Pro system that I have right here. Let me explain. I think the most obvious place to start is with the camera array that DJI integrated into the Mavic 4 Pro. Like the Matrice for Enterprise, the Mavic 4 Pro features a triple camera setup. But there are some key differences worth noting here. The Mavic 4 Pro includes a 25 megapixel 28mm Hasselblad main camera sensor, a 12 megapixel 70mm medium telephoto, and a 12 megapixel 168mm telephoto lens. This setup is quite similar to what we see here on the Matrice for Enterprise. However, the M4E's main camera is a 20 megapixel 24mm sensor, which is obviously 5 megapixel less than the M4 Pro's main camera. One of my biggest criticisms of the M4E was that DJI didn't upgrade the resolution on its primary sensor. It's literally the exact same one from the M4E that came out in September of 2022. For mapping workflows, I generally prefer as much resolution as possible because higher megapixel counts allow for higher altitude flights while still capturing dense, detailed imagery, which saves a lot of time and effort in the field for data collection. Now, here's where the Mavic 4 Pro stands out. Its camera offers a super resolution mode, with the main camera capable of producing images up to 100 megapixels. It sounds great on paper, but let's see how it performs in the real world. Here on the desktop, we are gonna take a look at the image quality test on the Mavic 4 Pro against the Matrice for Enterprise. Now, I took all of these photos at 180 feet, and then I bounced between both the regular resolution of each camera sensor on both cameras, and then for the Mavic 4 Pro, I also added the super resolution so that we could see what a 100 megapixel option looks like on the main camera, the 48, and then the 50 for the 2.5, and then the 6x lens on the Mavic 4 Pro. So here, we're actually gonna be using this aerial target that I have. And on the left-hand side, this is just the regular 25 megapixel camera. Now, looking at the same altitude, I literally just did the camera trigger at 2 different instances here. And we can see if I get a similar zoom level here. On the right-hand side, this is the 100 megapixel. And I know this not just because of the name that I gave it, but if we look here at the bottom, this one is a 48 megabyte file, and then this one is just a 15 megabyte file. And we can clearly see on the right-hand side, it is sharper. This one is a little muddy on the left-hand side, and then the one on the right side, it is a bit sharper. Even zooming all the way into the number 3 on the aerial target, you can just see it's a little bit more defined on the actual target itself. Now, taking a look at the M4E's camera compared to the M4 Pro, I have both of the wide main cameras on each system pulled up here. And one thing I do want to call out on the M4E, it is a little bit of a wider angle lens compared to the M4 Pro, which is why you're seeing more in frame on the M4E, even though these are at the exact same altitude of 180 feet. Let's go ahead and just zoom into the target here, and we can tell that it just is better on the M4 Pro because we just have 5 more megapixels on the M4 Pro compared to the M4E. You can really see that there is more quality within the image itself. Now, let me explain one thing before we move on about these resolutions on these cameras here, specifically on the 100 megapixel mode. When you activate the super resolution mode, the camera rapidly captures multiple 25 megapixel images, each slightly offset using tiny sensor level shifts or the natural micro vibrations, and then uses onboard processing to stitch them together into a single high resolution composite. effectively simulating a 100 megapixel image in a process similar to what's called pixel shift technology that's found in really high-end mirrorless cameras. So it's not really a 100 megapixel true camera sensor, but really just stacking images together. And actually all three cameras on this drone do this, as we just saw in the example on my computer. When it comes to video quality, well, the Mavic 4 Pro completely outclasses the M4E with support for up to 6K at 60 frames per second, compared to the M4E's maximum 4K 30 frames per second. There's really no technical reason the M4E couldn't at least support 4K 60, but clearly DJI didn't prioritize that. So if capturing high quality video is important to you, the M4 Pro easily outperforms the M4E in this category. One small detail worth calling out is that the Mavic 4 Pro includes a built-in 512GB SSD for internal data capture, but only if you opt for the more expensive Creator Combo, like what I have right here. It's a nice feature, and honestly, it would have been great to see something similar on the M4E for added redundancy. Interestingly though, DJI actually reduced the internal storage compared to the Mavic 3 Cine or even the Mavic 3 Pro Cine, both of which came with a 1TB SSD. Not sure why that change was made, but it's something worth noting. Now let's talk about the mapping and modeling capabilities of the M4 Pro versus the M4E. In my review, I'll call the M4E the king of mapping and modeling. And while that is still true, you can actually have the M4 Pro map automatically as well, with some tedious workarounds. I made a whole video on that workaround here, where you can learn more about how I actually did that. Something that I noticed is that the M4 Pro's maps visually look better and sharper at the same altitude when compared to the M4E. Let me show you what I mean. Now let's take a look at the actual maps that I was able to generate from both the M4E and the M4 Pro. First, let's take a look at the M4E. It was a very quick mission. It was only about a minute and a half, and we captured about 65 photos. And this being at 160 feet, it's gonna look great. But we're gonna focus here on the handicap spot, and we're gonna zoom into roughly this zoom level here. And well, it looks great. I mean, it looks totally fine. I can tell it's a handicap spot. I've got good enough resolution for this entire map that I'm looking at here. And granted, we are zoomed in really tight to this very specific spot on this entire area that I captured. But just to give you a sense of the resolution, here's what I'm able to get out of the 65 20 megapixel images. Now, taking a look at the M4 Pro, what I actually ended up doing is I switched it into that super resolution mode on the main camera. So technically here we have 103 100 megapixel images, and zooming into that same spot, it does look better. Again, we have way more data to work with when stitching all of those images together to generate the output that we got here. I do want to preface this by saying, just because the Mavic 4 Pro can map doesn't necessarily mean it should. There are a few important limitations to consider. The biggest one is the flight speed. Since the M4 Pro lacks a mechanical shutter, you're limited to how fast you can fly without introducing motion blur. The sample map that I showed was flown at 15 miles per hour, where with the M4E handled the same type of mission at 33 miles per hour with no issue, and that's because of that mechanical shutter. Oh, and also this odd thing happens with the gimbal when the M4 Pro is transitioning between waypoints. It sort of twitches a bit, which can be a little jarring and could add some inconsistencies in your data collection. Again, just wanted to call a note to that, but might have been just user error on my part. Another key difference is in the automated 3D mapping. The M4E significantly outperforms the M4 Pro here, offering a fully automated oblique and facade missions. With the M4 Pro, you need to fly manually to get quality oblique or facade data. That doesn't mean that the M4 Pro can't handle facade captures, it just requires a lot more hands-on effort. That said, for inspection work, the higher megapixel count and improved optics on the M4 Pro might actually make it a better tool, especially when you need detailed close-up imagery. By the way, if you're serious about mastering drone mapping and modeling, I offer a comprehensive 22-hour online course that you can enroll in today. And for a limited time, you'll save $100 when you sign up now up until July 15th. I also host an immersive 2-day hands-on workshop where you'll learn directly from me how to effectively integrate drone mapping and turn it into a business. And when you attend, you'll receive free access to the full online course as part of your registration. You can learn more about the workshop and online course by clicking the link above or in the description down below. Let's address the elephant in the room: RTK capabilities. This is where the M4 Pro simply falls short. There's currently no way to integrate RTK with this drone. In contrast, one of the biggest selling points of the M4E is its built-in RTK antenna, which allows the system to achieve centimeter-level accuracy, not just in the maps and models, but also throughout the entire flight path. This feature alone has helped me secure thousands of dollars in client work, because almost every project spec I receive includes the requirement, RTK capable drone. And no, this isn't something that you can retrofit onto the M4 Pro. So if RTK is a requirement for your workflow, it's a major factor to keep in mind and really influence your purchasing decision. Now, this next point, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with DJI. Why did enterprise users get stuck with such a cheap charger for the M4 batteries? I don't get it. It only charges one battery at a time, which became a serious pain for me on several projects early on. When I only had 3 batteries, I couldn't charge them quickly enough, meaning I was forced to fly with 50% charge or less between swaps just to stay on schedule for the project that I was working on. Meanwhile, the Mavic 4 Pro offers a 200-watt desktop charger that charges multiple batteries in parallel, a massive time saver. So my question is, how hard would it have been to offer something similar for the M4E or M4T systems, especially when you're already paying $1,000 to $5,000 more for the full enterprise kits when compared to the M4 Pro setup? As it stands, the only way to get parallel charging for the M4E batteries is by turning to a third-party option that costs at least $200, which honestly feels like such an unnecessary workaround. Again, sorry for the rant, I just had to be said. I don't get why they gave us this when we could have had something like this for that. Finally, let's talk about the controllers, because these are 2 very different setups. One is clearly designed for portability and travel, while the other is built for rugged, all-day use. Now, I'll admit, it's kind of funny how DJI seems to release a new controller every few months, but hey, it is what it is. With the Creator Combo, the Mavic 4 Pro comes with the new RC Pro 2. It features a very sleek design with folding sticks, and you can hear it turns on immediately when I open it up, and folds very neatly when you close the screen. Speaking of the screen, it's 2000 nits, which makes it fantastic for flying in direct sunlight. Plus, it has a rotating screen for vertical shooting, a feature previously limited to drones like the Mini 3 and Mini 4 Pro. On the other hand, the M4E is paired with the DJI RC Plus 2, a much larger industrial-grade controller that I personally like. It supports hot swapping batteries for continuous all-day operation, and you can even attach an LTE dongle to simplify RTK connectivity in the field. The last big difference lies in the software. The M4 Pro runs on the DJI Fly app, which is geared towards consumer drones, while the M4E runs on DJI Pilot 2, which is purpose-built for enterprise missions and all the other enterprise drones in DJI's enterprise lineup. So, did DJI accidentally kill the Matrice for Enterprise? For me, the answer is no, and here's why. The M4E still has several purpose-built features that the Mavic 4 Pro simply can't match. And let's be honest, this is classic DJI. Software locking features across both platforms in a way that could easily warrant an entire rant video, but I'll save that for another day. In reality, if your primary business is producing high-quality photo and video content with the occasional need for generating 2D maps and 3D models, then the Mavic 4 Pro is absolutely the right tool for the job. It delivers fantastic image and video quality, portability, and even some light mapping capabilities. However, if you're like me and routinely run high accuracy mapping and modeling missions, whether weekly or daily, the M4E is still in a league of its own. Now, I do get this question a lot, so as for the possibility of DJI opening up an SDK for the M4 Pro to allow for third-party platforms like Drone Deploy or Drone Link to build mapping apps, I wouldn't count on it. Doing so, if, well, DJI released that, would cut into their enterprise sales and reduce the incentives for users like me to spend another $5,000 on a separate system. DJI knows exactly what it's doing. They've created a complex ecosystem that keeps us buying kind of like the Apple way of doing things. At the end of the day, the Mavic 4 Pro is a beautiful evolution of the Mavic series. Yes, it brings some incredible enhancements, but no, it doesn't replace my go-to mapping and modeling system. I've put links to absolutely everything that I mentioned in this video, so if you want to buy the M4E, you can buy it down below. Same thing with the Mavic 4 Pro. All those links are down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more videos from me in the future, please be sure to subscribe. And I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment down below on what you think about the M4 Pro versus the M4E, or if you want to see me do some other comparisons with some other systems. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.